Do you want to set up your own perfect watercolor palette? Do you feel you've graduated from sets curated for you by manufacturers? Then keep on watching. In this video, I will share my 5 steps to setting up a watercolor palette that works for you. Hi there, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Irit and I'm a watercolor and mixed media artist based in Austria, Europe. On my channel, I share my passion for watercolors. I would love for you to join us and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really helps me out. Also, let me know in the comments which palette you're using currently and how it's working for you. Now let's get into today's topic. Setting up a new palette can be quite daunting. If you're an absolute beginner, I recommend starting out with a basic set that has already been curated for you. Those tend to have a good, albeit sometimes basic, selection of colors that create a very versatile palette. I will link to some relevant videos in the video information section. Check them out for invaluable tips that will help you get started. Once you have moved past sets and you want to curate and create your own palette, things get much harder. The biggest decisions you have to make are which palette to choose and which watercolors to include. There's really no right or wrong when it comes to which palette or how many colors one should include. There's only what is right for you. So don't feel bad if you see artists that love having very limited palettes. There are also artists that feel comfortable with huge palettes that offer a large selection. Some enjoy having more options, while others feel overwhelmed. Wherever you are on that spectrum, it is totally okay. Embrace it and make sure you set up a palette that works for you. As I've said, the 2 biggest decisions you have to make are which palette to choose and which watercolors to include in it. There are endless options. Today, I'm setting up this beautiful ceramic palette I got from Jackson's Art. It has advantages and disadvantages, and I'm looking forward to painting with it and seeing if it works for me. What appealed to me was the color wheel setup, and I'm excited to see if it helps my process. If you want to see more videos about palettes, again, I will link relevant ones in the info section. Today I'm going to focus on setting up a palette with paint squeezed out of tubes. Step 1. Decide which colors to include in your palette. Don't feel you have to fill every spot in the palette. In fact, it is probably better to leave a few blanks. Once you start using your palette, you will see if you need to add a color. I highly recommend swatching the colors and auditioning them. I believe in an individualistic and intuitive approach to painting, and the same goes for choosing colors. If you know color theory and you are familiar with the colors you want to include in your palette, you should know what they can do. You will see that my approach is non-traditional and non-academic. I like it, I use it, that's pretty much it. There is no such thing as must-have colors. There are artists that never use X or Y color, and that doesn't make their art bad. On the contrary, a cohesive color palette is one aspect of developing a signature style that is authentic to you. My most important advice to you is look at the color and ask yourself these questions. 1. Do I like this color? As Marie Kondo would say, does it bring me joy? 2. Do I actually use this color when painting? I'm assuming if you have gotten to this point where you want to set up your own curated palette, you have been painting for some time, so you should have an idea of which colors you use. I have several colors I really love, but still struggle to actually include in my paintings. Question number 3. Do I want to include this color because others say I should? That brings us back to the first question. If you don't like a color, do not put it in your palette. Simple as that. Keep in mind, this is not irreversible. You can always come back and change things. Step 2. Decide beforehand on the placement. Organizing your paints can be very beneficial to the flow of your creative process. I usually prefer a rainbow order, and in this case, a color wheel order. Because this palette has tube paint, as opposed to pans, it is much harder and messier to change things around later. You know the saying, measure twice, cut once? I say swatch twice, squeeze once. Step 3. Squeeze a small amount of paint. It is so very tempting to just fill those lovely wells with lots and lots of paint, but I highly suggest not doing that, especially with a new palette. Once you start using it, you will see how much Once you start using it, you will see how much paint you are using up, and perhaps you will discover this palette is actually not working for you. Or maybe you have to switch around some things. It would be such a shame to waste all that paint. Start small and see how the palette works for you before committing to larger amounts. Step 4. Create a sketch or diagram of your palette and fill it with swatches of your paints. Watercolor can look totally different in the palette than it does on paper, and so it is crucial to see it on paper. Also, if your palette is large or if you have colors you're still not familiar with, this sketch can be extremely helpful. Don't skip this stage. It's also fun. You can see I made a sketch of this palette. I used Procreate to sketch it and then sized it to fit my sketchbook and printed it out on my printer. Step 5. Swatch, mix, and play. The more you paint and play with your watercolors, the more you will discover what you like and what works for you. Do not be afraid to change your setup. I have used several palettes in my years of painting with watercolors, and the right palette can make a huge difference and really enhance the joy of the creative process. I've only started playing with this palette, and it definitely has some nice features. Time will tell if it's the one for me. I will keep you updated. Thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely check out these ones that are on the screen, as well as more recommendations in the video info section. Thanks again, and have a lovely weekend.